Little Richard, 87, the trailblazing showman who helped detonate a rock and roll explosion in the 1950s and whose high-energy performances and gender-bending persona would be profoundly influential on generations, from the Beatles to Prince, has died. The death of the piano-pounding pop music pioneer born Richard Penniman was confirmed to Rolling Stone magazine by Danny Jones Penniman, the musician's son, who said his father died Saturday morning at home in Nashville. Little Richard's lawyer said the cause of death was bone cancer. Along with Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley, Little Richard spearheaded a musical revolution, unleashing an unbridled torrent of sexual energy that teenagers across America and around the world were powerless to resist. The Macon, Georgia, native stood with his pompadour piled high, expressing himself in ecstatic shrieks, speaking a language of liberation that was unmistakable even if the words didn't make literal sense. As he put it in Tutti Frutti, his first hit on Specialty Records in 1955, a wop bop a loo bop a lop bam boom. On Saturday, many paid tribute to his greatness. The king of rock and roll, Amir Questlove Thompson of the Philadelphia hip-hop band The Roots wrote on Instagram. "Zero questions. The man was literally the blueprint of all the world took from. Long live the king. Get the news you need to start your day." The man who invented it, Steve Van Zandt, the Bruce Springsteen guitarist and underground garage radio host who was married by Little Richard in 1982, said on Twitter. Elvis popularized it. Chuck Berry was the storyteller. Richard embodied the spirit of rock and roll. Little Richard was the essence of rock and roll, legendary Philadelphia rock promoter Larry Magid said. He was the originator. When I heard "Tutti Frutti," it was like a light went on in my life. His "Tutti Frutti" exploded when I was 8 years old, awaking a positive anarchy in a little girl's heart, Patti Smith wrote on Instagram. Nothing was the same after hearing his exciting and excitable voice. In 1955 we were stomping in our Buster Brown shoes, and the name of the energy was Little Richard. I just heard the news about Little Richard and I'm so grieved, Bob Dylan wrote on Twitter. He was my shining star and guiding light back when I was only a little boy. His was the original spirit that moved me to do everything I would do. Dylan said that he played shows with Little Richard in the 1990s and, in his presence he was always the same Little Richard that I first heard and was awed by growing up, and I always was the same little boy. Of course he'll live forever. But it's like a part of your life is gone. I always liked Little Richard because he was a really energetic performer, Jagger said. I liked his records before I was with the Stones. I used to do songs that he did when I was a singer when I was a kid. ... Richard's records hold up. They have this fantastic energy to them.